Chag Sameach, everyone. I'm going to greet you three ways. Chag Sameach means happy holiday. Boker Tov requires you to respond Boker Or. Good morning, the light of the morning. So Boker Tov.
Boker Or.
And for all of us like me who grew up Ashkenazi and had the Ashkenazi beaten out of them in 1965, Good Yontif. Wonderful to be here together. This is the 8th year, as far as my incorrect counting or incomplete counting is, that we have shared our holiday, our Chagim, with our friends from Rosh Shalom. Today is the very first time we've combined our choirs. The second time we've combined our choirs. Everybody knows how math challenged I am. Some people are here to celebrate the standing at Sinai to receive the law. Some people are here that they may enjoy and be uplifted by the beautiful music that's going to be sung. Some are here because of Yizkor, and they want to commemorate their relatives, and they want to do them honor by being here. All those reasons come together. They all intersect as we create a community right here, right now, that never has been, and probably will never be again, every single one of us who is here today. So we're going to begin. Excuse me a second. In your festival prayer book, and if it says Shabbat, it's the wrong prayer book. We're on page 412. 412. Now Mount Sinai was all in smoke, for Adonai come down upon it in fire. Torah given amidst fire is compared to fire. Just as fire lives forever, so do the words of Torah live forever. When one draws near to fire, one is burned by it. When one moves away from fire, one is chilled. On Shavuot, we warm ourselves by the light of Torah, our precious heritage. We begin with the singing of Ma Tovu, how goodly are your tents, O Jacob, on page 418 in your Siddur.
Vani
משכנותיך ישראל, מה טובו, מה טובו, אוהליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל, משכנותיך
For those just coming in, please find a seat, preferably up close, where you're close to the spiritual energy that we've all created by coming here today. The next two blessings on page 420 and 422 combine body and soul. The idea that we need our bodies to work for us. We are living in an incredible age where people live to ages undreamed of not too long ago. And yet, every single one person, every single one is infused with a divine spark that never was and never will be. And we just delight in both of them being woven together in this beautiful and well-known set of melodies by Debbie Friedman. Continue with the morning blessings. They're called the Nisim B'chol Yom. Not the morning blessings, the Nisim. The word Nes in Hebrew means miracle. Because if you look at any single one of these, it is extraordinary that we are participating in God's world the way we are. Living, breathing, moving, working, doing everything that we do. As the morning blessings are chanted, starting on page 424, if you'd like to say them for yourself, we certainly encourage that. But as I always say, it's a great religion. You get full credit just by saying Amen. So I'll be saying Amen to each blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sechvi bina levchin ben yom uben laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivri.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asuri.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufi.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokaaretz alamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamichin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanotein la'ya'ef koach.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir sheina me'inai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael bikura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael betifara.
Amen. On the facing page, you'll find a reading. We have come to love this reading in our morning minyan upstairs. It was written by Edmund Flegg in France in 1927. He was a composer and yet a poet and essayist as well. And he said, post-World War I, the war to end all war, when there never would be war again, because the following year, they would sign a pact called the Kellogg-Briand Pact, saying that no country would ever go to war again unless they felt they had to. Why be Jewish? Let's read his declaration of faith. I am a Jew because the faith of Israel demands no abdication of my mind. I am a Jew because the faith of Israel requires all the devotion of my heart. I am a Jew because in every place where suffering weeps, the Jew weeps. I am a Jew because at every time when despair cries out, the Jew hopes. I am a Jew because the word of Israel is the oldest and the newest. I am a Jew because Israel's promise is the universal promise. I am a Jew because for Israel the world is not completed, we are completing it. I am a Jew because for Israel humanity is not created, we are creating it. I am a Jew because Israel places humanity in its unity above the nations and above Israel itself. I am a Jew because above humanity, image of the divine unity, Israel places the unity which is divine. The blessing for Torah study on a daily basis is on page 430. Please read with me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. We praise you, Adonai, our God, ruler of all, who makes us holy with commandments and commands us to literally be busy with the study of Torah. So let's look at Talmud. Please turn the page to 432. Those of you who read this passage frequently may not realize you're studying Talmud every time you do it. Let's read it together. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study,
morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. The study of Torah encompasses them all.
After we've given thanks for all the daily miracles of life, all the wonders that we get to participate in God's world, we look to the ancient Psalms. We look to King David to inspire us through a section called Psukei de Zimra. We're going to begin with the psalm called Psalm 100 on page 440 as the choir leads us, even as the choir led services so many years ago in the ancient temple.
Hariul Adonai, kol haaretz, ivdu et Adonai b'simcha. Bo'u lefanav birnana, de'u ki Adonai hu Elohim. Hu asanu velo anachnu amo v'tzon marito. Bo'u she'arav betoda chatzerotav b'tehila. Hodu lo baruchu shemo ki tov Adonai leolam chasto ve'ad dor vador emunato.
Please turn ahead in your books to page 442 for the Ashrei. The version of Ashrei we're doing was written by Perry Smilo. It's very peppy. Feel free to get peppy with it. Want to rise? Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, Od Yerolelu Tasela. Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, Od Yerolelu Tasela. Ashrei, Ashrei, Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha. Ashrei, Ashrei, Ashrei. Beitecha, Od Yehalelu Chasela. We continue with the rendering of Psalm 150. It's on page 445. We like to call this the kitchen sink psalm. This means that you praise God with everything you have. In the olden days, I would say with your BlackBerry, but BlackBerries are deader than doornails. But anything that you have that you can offer as praise to God. I had a professor at my rabbinical school who said, everything is grist for the sermonic mill. And he added, everything you experience is the ability to see that there is more than us in the world. We offer praise for it all. Psalm 150 on page 445. Turn to 450 in your books at the top of the page in the English. As we begin to bring this section of praise of Psalms to a close and prepare ourselves for the Baruch of the call to worship, we declare the following words. You shall always be praised. Great and holy God, our sovereign in heaven and on earth, songs of praise and songs of adoration become you, acknowledging your might and your dominion. Yours are strength and sovereignty, sanctity, grandeur, and glory always. We offer our devotion, open our hearts in acclamation. Baruch. Mic off.
Baruch atah Adonai El Melech Gadol Batishbachot El Haodaot Adon Haniflaot Habocher Beshirei Zimra Habocher Beshirei Zimra Zimra Melech Elhei Haolamim Melech Elhei
It's our custom to rise in preparation for Baruch Hu for Chatzi Kaddish. Please rise as you are able.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
יעלמד יברח חירותי ומליך מלכותי. בחייכון וביומייכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לעלמי המאיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקודשיו נעלמים כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן מעלמם ויאמרו אמן.
Turn the page. Bible Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach le'olam. And on 455, we read together. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeemed the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMe'orot. Turn the page once more. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand, discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, fulfill all that is within your Torah. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth. Lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, worked wonders. You chose us. Truly you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'amo Yisrael, b'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated. We continue together with the V'ahavta on 460.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
On page 462, Adonai said to Moses as follows, "Speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all the commandments of Adonai and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge." 464. For us, this eternal teaching is true and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good, and beautiful. The God of the universe is truly our sovereign, the rock of Jacob, our protecting shield. God endures through all generations. God's name persists. God's throne is firm. God's sanctity and sovereignty and faithfulness last forever. God's words live and endure, faithful and precious for eternity. Together. From Egypt you redeemed us, freeing us from bondage. For that your beloved sang praise, exalting you. Your dear ones offered hymns, songs, praise, blessing, and thanksgiving to you as sovereign, the living and enduring God. High and exalted, great and awesome, God ever humbles the proud, raises the lowly, frees the imprisoned, redeems the afflicted, helps the oppressed, answering our people when we cry out. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. In great joy, Moses, Miriam, and Israel responded with a song to you, all of them proclaiming, turn the page once more and join together in the tefillah.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
470.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei HaKol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
472.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, לחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
476.
מקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאיך, וכרזל זה ויאמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, אדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. בחרנו אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה.
Please be seated.
לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגיד גם לך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. לדור ודור, לדור ודור,
Page 478, we read together at the bottom of the page, "You have chosen us in love and favor by making us holy through your mitzvot and drawing us close to your service, that through us your great and holy name may become known in all the earth. In your love, Adonai, our God, you have given us feasts of gladness and seasons of joy, this festival of Shavuot, season of our receiving Torah, to unite in worship and recall the Exodus from Egypt." Page 480. "Our God and God of our ancestors, be mindful of your people Israel and recall our merit for good and grace and in loving kindness and compassion for life and peace on this festival of Shavuot. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tovah,
Amen.
ufokdenu vo livracha,
Amen.
oshienu vo l'chaim."
Amen.
This day remember us for well-being. Amen. This day bless us with your nearness. This day help us to a fuller life. Amen. Page 482. "Bestow upon us the blessings of your holy festivals, and may we so celebrate them as to be worthy of your blessing. Our God and God of our ancestors, make us holy with your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our way of life. May our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, purify our hearts to serve you in truth. Let your holy festivals remain our heritage, and let us celebrate them with joy, so that all Israel, hallowing your name, may have cause to rejoice. We praise you, Adonai, who sanctifies the house of Israel in the festivals. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Yisrael, Bahazmani."
Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amecha Yisrael u'tefilatam be'ava tekabel u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael. Yisrael amecha el karov lechol korav penei el avadecha v'choninu shefot
487. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees, and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. This is the birth, day of life and love and wings, and of the gay, great happening, illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing any lifted from the no, of all nothing human merely being, doubt unimaginably you. Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are opened. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, v'lecha ne'eh lehodot. Our prayer for peace on page 490, which we follow with our own silent prayers.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Achinu Yisraelu kulanu ke'echad, be'or panecha, ki be'or panecha natzatza lanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Sim shalom, balach tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Torat chaim ve'ahavat chesed, ve'ahavat chesed, u'tzedakah u'veracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom. Sim shalom, balach tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. V'tov, v'tov beinecha, levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amen. Baruch atah Adonai, melech amo Yisrael, b'shalom.
Continue with our own private, silent prayers, meditations, and thanksgiving for Shavuot.
Shalom bimroma, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei Tel Avivu. Shalom bimroma, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Shalom bimroma, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru.
on page 560.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu likro et hallel.
Psalm 113.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, Avdei Adonai, hallelujah, et Shem Adonai, Yehi Shem Adonai mevorach, ve'ata ve'ad olam, mimizrach shemesh ad mevo, me'ulal Shem Adonai, Rama kol goyim Adonai, al hashamayim kevodo, Adonai Eloheinu hamachli lashavet hamashpili lirot bashamayim uvaretz mikimi me'afar gal me'ashpot yarim evyon le'oshivim nedivim im nedivei amo moshivi akeret habayit הם הבנים שלך, הללויה, 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 הללויה. בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם גורס, בצאת ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מעם גורס, הייתה יהודה לקודשו, ישראל עם שלותה, הים רב, הינוס, הירדן יסוב לאחור, ההרים רקדו חיילים, גבעות כבני צאן, מה לך הים, איתנו, ההרים תקדו חיילים גבעות יבני צאן מלפני אדום כולי ארץ מלפני אלוה יעקב אהובכי הצור אגמיים על עמי למיינו מים.
With each psalm, we move closer to receiving the Torah, Psalm 115, on the facing page 563.
Adonai zecharanu yevarech et Beit Yisrael, yevarech et Beit Aharon, yevarech yirei Adonai, הקטנים עם הגדולים, יוסיף אדוני עליכם ועל בניכם, ברוכים אתם אדוני, עושה שמיים בארץ, שמיים לאדוני, והארץ נתן לבני אדם, לא המתים להללויה, ולא כל יודעי דומה, אנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה.
Page 565, we join together in reading Psalm 117 in English. Praise Adonai, all you nations. Extol God, all you peoples. For great is God's steadfast love toward us. Adonai's faithfulness endures forever. Hallelujah.
Odul Adonai ki tov,
כי לעולם חסדו
We continue a little further in Psalm 118 on 567.
Ikuli sharet tzedek avova modia. Ikuli sharet tzedek avova modia. Zehashar l'Adonai tzadikim yavovo. Zehashar l'Adonai tzadikim yavovo. Odecha ki anitani v'tehili lishua. Odecha ki anitani v'tehili lishua. Even masu habonim hayta lerosh pina. Even masu habonim hayta lerosh pina. Ve'et Adonai hayta zot hi niflat b'einenu. Ve'et Adonai hayta zot hi niflat b'einenu. Zeh hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismecha bo. Zeh hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismecha bo. Ana Adonai Hoshiana. Ana Adonai Hoshiana. Ana Adonai Hatzlichana. Ana Adonai Hatzlichana. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai v'irachnuchem mibeit Adonai. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai v'irachnuchem mibeit Adonai. El Adonai v'yair lanu yisru chagavotim ad karnot hamizbeach. El Adonai v'yair lanu yisru chagavotim ad karnot hamizbeach. Eli ata ve'oteka Elohai aronimeka. Eli ata ve'oteka Elohai aronimeka. Odul Adonai ki tov ki leolam chaso. Odul Adonai ki tov ki leolam chaso. Just as we began this section with a blessing, we conclude it with a blessing. We join together on 569 in English. All your works shall praise you, Adonai our God, and your faithful ones, the righteous who do your will. And all your people, the house of Israel, thank you in joyous song, and bless, praise, glorify, exalt, extol, sanctify, and proclaim the sovereignty of your name. For it is good to give thee thanks and to sing praises to your name, because throughout all time to eternity you are God. Praise to you, Adonai, sovereign, praised in song. Baruch atah Adonai, melech mehulal batishbachot. We continue now with the Torah service, turning back to page 495. You shall count 7 weeks. Start to count the 7 weeks when the sickle is first put to the standing grain. Then you shall observe the Feast of Weeks for Adonai your God, offering your free will contribution according as Adonai your God has blessed you. Please rise as you are able. Adonai
Today we are reading the Ten Commandments. And we are going to be reading starting from about a paragraph before leading up to it, so you get to really imagine what it was like to be there.
On 523.
Page 523.
It's hello. Can I get him? Hello.
You're on.
It's 523 in the Chumash, the larger blue book that is in the Pirax around. So we're going to be reading the lead up, and then when we begin the Ten Commandments themselves, or the Aseret, he wrote the 10 utterances, we'll ask you to rise as you are able, as is traditional, as we all stood at Sinai. For the first Aliyah, we'd like to invite all the rabbis and cantors, those who serve in an official capacity in religious leadership in the community, to come forward and be recognized, be honored. Where's Molly? Come on up here. Here, the first Aliyah. Here is Rabbi David, Rabbi Walter Jacob, Rabbi Herman. How's that? That's better. Okay. Huh? The Har Sinai is right there. Anybody else want to touch? The Har Sinai. Dan, you want to touch right here? There we go. Okay, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Vaed. Har Sinai Shen Kulo. Now all of Mount Sinai was wreathed in smoke. Mipnei Asher Yarad Alav Adonai Ba'esh. For God had descended upon it in fire. V'yal Ashana Kivshan. And the smoke arose like the smoke of a kiln. V'yecharad kol ahar ma'od. And the mountain trembled violently. V'yikol hashofar holech v'chazak ma'od. And the sound of the shofar waxed and grew greater and greater. Moshe Yedaber v'Elohim Yanenu b'kol. And Moses would speak, and God answered in thunder. Vayarad Adonai al Har Sinai. And so it was that God descended upon Mount Sinai, El Rosh Hahar, at the summit of the mountain. Vayikra Adonai leMoshe. And God called to Moses, El Rosh Hahar, to the summit of the mountain, Vaya'al Moshe. And Moses ascended. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe. And God said to Moses, Red, go down, Ha'ed Ba'am, warn the people, Pen Yarsu El Adonai, lest they burst forth to God lirot, to gaze. V'nafal mimenu rav, and many of them fall. V'gam ha'kohanim hanigashim el Adonai, and even the priests who would approach God yitkadashu, to be sanctified, pen yifrotz b'hem Adonai, lest God burst out against them. V'yomer Moshe el Adonai, and Moses responded to God, Lo yuchal ha'am la'alot el ahar. The people are not able to ascend the mountain, Har Sinai, Mount Sinai. Ki ata ha'edot banu. You've already warned us. Lemor as follows: Hagbel et ahar. Give boundaries to the mountain. V'kidashto, and sanctify it. V'yomer elav Adonai. And so God said, to him, Lech red. Proceed, go down the alita and reascend. Ata v'Aaron imcha. You and Aaron with you. Va'kohanim va'am al yaharsu la'alot el Adonai pen yifrotz bam. But the priests and the people, do not let them burst through to ascend up to God, lest God burst out against them. Vayered Moshe el ha'am, and Moses descended the people. Vayomer aleihem, and declared to them. Vadaber Elohim ekol ha'devarim ha'ele lemor, and God declared all these words to the people as follows. Please rise as you are able. And hopefully we can get a screen. Anochi Adonai Elohecha. I am Adonai your God. Asher hotzeticha me'eretz Mitzrayim mibet avadim. Who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the status of bondage. Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al panai. Have no other gods in my stead. Lo ta'aseh lecha fesel. Do not make any kind of sculpted image. V'chol temunah, or pictorial representation. Asher b'shamayim mima'al, of the things in the heavens. V'asher ba'aretz mitachat, or in the earth below, v'asher b'mayim mitachat la'aretz, or even in the waters that are under the earth. Lo tishtachavel lehem, do not bow down to them. V'lo to'ovdem, do not serve them. Ki anochi Adonai Elohecha, For I, Adonai, who am your God, El Kana, I am a zealous God, Poker Avot Albanim Al Shaleshim, who visiteth the iniquity of parents against children to the third generation, Va'al Rebeim to the fourth, L'sonai to those who hate me, V'oseh chesed alafim le'ohavai u'shomrei mitzvotai. But I extend kindnesses to the 1,000th generation of those that love me and observe or guard my commandments. By the way, all punishment dies out after 3 or 4 generations. We are still only in 300 generations as Abraham. We have barely scratched the surface of God's love. Lo tisai et shem Adonai Elohecha lashav. You shall not use the name of Adonai your God blithely, vainly, for nothing. Ki lo yinakeh Adonai et asher yisai et shemo lashav. For God will not hold guiltless anybody who uses God's name lightly, blithely, or in vain. Say Yesher Koach to our colleagues. And yes, you remain standing for the rest of the commandments. The second aliyah is uniquely personal. 48 years ago, I was confirmed on Shavuot at Temple Israel in Minneapolis. If you were confirmed in the city of Pittsburgh at a Reformed synagogue, conservative synagogue, if you were confirmed in this, we want to recognize you as having received Torah. We call it Kabbalat Torah. Nobody was confirmed. If you were confirmed anywhere, please come on up. Absolutely. I'm just holding it. Where were you confirmed? In Melbourne. Fantastic. I was just there at your synagogue in February. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Oh, look at it. So make room this way. Come on now. I love the Mass Aliyot. It's great. Oh, you were confirmed still? Where were you confirmed? Right here. At Rodef, okay. Because I think when you were confirmed, this place didn't exist.
Come closer.
Can you come closer, everybody? Because I have to hold this very high for everybody. Where? One.
There's space. Come fill in the space over here.
Fill in the space. Come right up close to the reading desk.
There's space over here.
There we go.
All of you hiding out over there.
The confirmation class of 57. Oh, excuse me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Baruch Adonai Barak Le'olam Va'ed.
Shabbat lekadsho, sheshet yamim tavon, vasita kol mlachtecha, v'yom hashvi'i Shabbat l'Adonai Elohecha, lo taseh kol mlacha, ata uvincha uvitecha, v'avdecha v'amatcha uvemtecha, v'gercha asher b'sharecha, sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz et hayam v'et kol asher bam. Vayanach b'yom hashvi'i al kein berach Adonai et yom hashabat v'ykadshehu. Remember the Sabbath day and make it holy. For in 6 days, in 6 days you shall work and do all of the work that you have to do, and on the 7th day you shall rest. For Adonai your God, you shall not do any sort of work, you or your daughter or your son or your male slave or your female slave or any of your livestock or the stranger who is within your gates, because in 6 days Adonai made the heavens and the earth, the sea and everything that is within it, and on the 7th day God rested. Therefore then God blessed the 7th day
or the Sabbath day, and declared it holy. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha, leman yarichun yamecha al hadama, asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may live long upon the earth that Adonai your God is giving you. Lo tirtzach, don't murder. Lo tinaf, do not commit adultery. Lo tiknov, don't steal. Lo tanev re'acha et shaker, do not bear false witness against your neighbor. Lo tachmod beit re'echa, lo tachmod eshet re'echa, vavdo v'amato v'shoro v'chamoro v'chol asher l're'echa. Do not covet your neighbor's house. Do not covet your neighbor's wife, or your neighbor's male slave or female slave, or his ox or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan v'toneinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Yasher Koach. Yes. You may be seated. And if you please turn to page 511 once you get to your seats, take your time. Our thoughts turn to those who are in need of healing of mind, healing of body, healing of spirit. Those who, for some reason or another, are not quite whole at this moment. And are we saying names before or between? My eyes meet yours. I invite you to share the names of those you're thinking of who are in need of healing, who are in need of wholeness, who are in need of peace, so that we can offer a Misha Berach for them.
Bat Simcha, Velvo, Ben, Batsheva, Betty Lou Margolis.
We also think of Abby Barker, Nancy Berkowitz, Tony Brabender, Bill Brown, Fernie Kaplan, Franklin Davis, Penny DeLong, Aaron Ben Devora, Irina Elvgreen, Sandra Fromm, Romy Glessner, Ronnie Gilbert, David Hammerstein, Tamara Jolly, Naum Kaplan, Bill May, Richard Meritzer, Lev Podorovsky, Barbara Rogel, Shira Hadassah bat Avram Basara, Zipporah Chava bat Hinda Sara, Arnie Silberman, Jeff Spear, Colleen Wolfson, and Stephen Joel Zuckerman. We hope for their wholeness, their healing, peace. Together we say, Continue with Hagba and Glila. And I invite you to please rise. You can find the words on page 510.
Bezot HaTorah asher sam Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael li Adonai li'ad Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah tziva lanu Moshe.
As soon as Rabbi Bisno sits down, you may be seated.
The Haftarah for today will be the book of Ruth. We're going to invite our Ruth readers to come forward and sit in the front row. We have Susan who's going to do the first chapter, and second chapter I think is going to be Beth from the Israel Movement for Progressive Judaism. We are delighted that you're here. Tell me your kibbutz again.
I don't live on kibbutz, I live in Nahariya.
Nahariya. But you used to be
Yes, Rosh Hanikra.
Rosh Hanikra.
Congregation in Shalom, Nahariya.
So the blessing is everything you know from Baruch to the word Vitzivanu, and then Likro et Megillah. This amazing story, and hopefully we'll be able to show you the words so we don't have to hand out sheets to everybody. We'll see what happens there. So Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu Likro et HaMegillah. So come over to here in front of this mic.
In the days when the chieftains ruled, there was a famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah, with his wife and 2 sons, went to live in the country of Moab. The man's name was Elimelech, his wife's name was Naomi, and his 2 sons were named Machlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem in Judah. They came to the country of Moab and remained there. Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah and one named Ruth, and they lived there about 10 years. Then those 2, Machlon and Chilion, also died, so that the woman was left without her 2 sons and without her husband. She started out with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab, For in the country of Moab she had heard that the Lord had taken note of his people and given them food. Accompanied by her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living, and they set out on the road back to the land of Judah. But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Turn back, each of you to her own mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead and with me. May the Lord grant that each of you find security in the house of a husband." And she kissed them farewell. They broke into weeping and said to her, "No, we will not return. We will return with you to your people." But Naomi replied, "Turn back, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Have I any more sons in my body who might be husbands for you? Turn back, my daughters, for I am too old to be married. Even if I thought there was hope for me, even if I were married tonight and I also bore sons, should you wait for them to grow up? Should you on their account debar yourselves from marriage? Oh no, my daughters, my lot is far more bitter than yours, for the hand of the Lord has struck out against me." They broke into weeping again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law farewell. But Ruth clung to her, so she said, "See, your sister-in-law has returned to her people and to her gods. Go, follow your sister-in-law." But Ruth replied, "Do not urge me to leave you, to turn back and not follow you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. Thus and more may the Lord do to me if anything but death parts me from you." When Naomi saw how determined she was to go with her, she ceased to argue with her, and the 2 went on until they reached Bethlehem. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole city buzzed with excitement over them. The women said, "Can this be Naomi?" "Do not call me Naomi," she replied. "Call me Mara, for Shaddai has made my lot very bitter. I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty. How can you call me Naomi when the Lord has dealt harshly with me, when Shaddai has brought misfortune upon me?" Thus Naomi returned from the country of Moab. She returned with her daughter-in-law Ruth the Moabite. They arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest.
Excuse me. Now Naomi had a kinsman on her husband's side, a man of substance of the family of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "I would like to go to the fields and glean among the ears of grain, behind someone who may show me kindness." "Yes, daughter, go," she replied, and off she went. She came and gleaned in a field behind the reapers, and as luck would have it, it was the piece of land belonging to Boaz, who was of Elimelech's family. Presently, Boaz arrived from Bethlehem. He greeted the reapers, "The Lord be with you," and they responded, "The Lord bless you." Boaz said to the servant who was in charge of the reapers, "Whose girl is that?" The servant in charge of the reapers replied, "She is a Moabite girl who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab. She said, 'Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the reapers.' She has been on her feet ever since she came this morning. She has rested but little in the hut." Boaz said to Ruth, "Listen to me, daughter. Don't go to glean in another field. Don't go elsewhere, but stay here close to my girls. Keep your eyes in the field they are reaping and follow them. I have ordered the men not to molest you, and when you are thirsty, go to the jars and drink some of the water that the men have drawn." She prostrated herself with her face to the ground and said to him, "Why are you so kind as to single me out when I am a foreigner?" Boaz said in reply, "I have been told of all that you did for your mother-in-law after the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and the land of your birth and came to a people you had not known before. May the Lord reward your deeds. May you have a full recompense from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have sought refuge." She answered, "You are most kind, my Lord, to comfort me and to speak gently to your maidservant, though I am not so much as one of your maidservants." At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come over here and partake of the meal, and dip your morsel in the vinegar." So she sat down beside the reapers. He handed her roasted grain, and she ate her fill and had some left over. When she got up again to glean, Boaz gave orders to his workers. "You were not only to let her glean among the sheaves without interference, but you must also pull some stalks out of the heaps and leave them for her to glean, and not scold her." She gleaned in the field until evening. Then she beat out what she had gleaned. It was about an ephah of barley, and carried it back with her to town. When her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and when she also took out and gave her what she had left over after eating her fill, the mother-in-law asked her, "Where did you glean today? Where did you work? Blessed be he who took such generous notice of you." So she told her mother-in-law whom she had worked with, saying, "The name of the man with whom I work today is Boaz." Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "Blessed be he of the Lord, who has not failed in his kindness to the living or to the dead." For, Naomi explained to her daughter-in-law, "the man is related to us. He is one of our redeeming kinsmen." Ruth the Moabite said, "He even told me, 'Stay close by my workers until all the harvest is finished.'" And Naomi answered her daughter-in-law Ruth, "It is best, daughter, that you go out with his girls and not be annoyed in some other field." So she stayed close to the maidservants of Boaz and gleaned until the barley harvest and the wheat harvest were finished. Then she stayed at home with her mother-in-law.
Naomi, her mother-in-law, said to her, "Daughter, I must seek a home for you where you may be happy. Now there is our kinsman Boaz, whose girls you were close to. He will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor tonight. So bathe, anoint yourself, dress up, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not disclose yourself to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he lies down, and go over and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what you are to do." She replied, "I will do everything you tell me." She went down to the threshing floor and did just as her mother-in-law had instructed her. Boaz ate and drank, and in a cheerful mood went to lie down beside the grain pile. Then she went over stealthily and uncovered his feet and lay down. In the middle of the night, the man gave a start and pulled back. There was a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked. And she replied, "I am your handmaid, Ruth. Spread your robe over your handmaid, for you are a redeeming kinsman." He exclaimed, "Be blessed of the Lord, daughter. Your latest deed of loyalty is greater than the first, in that you have not turned to younger men, whether poor or rich. And now, daughter, have no fear. I will do in your behalf whatever you ask, for all the elders of my town know what a fine woman you are. But while it is true I am a redeeming kinsman, there is another redeemer closer than I. Stay for the night. Then in the morning, if he will act as a redeemer, good, let him redeem. But if he does not want to act as redeemer for you, I will do so myself, as the Lord lives. Lie down until morning." So she lay at his feet until dawn. She rose before one person could distinguish another, for he thought, "Let it not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor." And he said, "Hold out the shawl you are wearing." She held it while he measured out 6 measures of barley, and he put it on her back. When she got back to the town, she came to her mother-in-law, who asked, "How is it with you, daughter?" She told her all that the man had done for her, and she added, "He gave me these 6 measures of barley, saying to me, 'Do not go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed.'" And Naomi said, "Stay here, daughter, till you learn how the matter turns out. For the man will not rest, but will settle the matter today.
Meanwhile, Boaz had gone to the gate and sat down there. And now the Redeemer whom Boaz had mentioned passed by. He called, "Come over and sit down here, so and so." So he came over and sat down. Then Boaz took 10 elders of the town and said, "Be seated here." And they sat down. He said to the Redeemer, "Naomi, now returned from the country of Moab, must sell the pieces of land which belong to our kinsman Elimelech. I thought I should disclose the matter to you and say, acquire it in the presence of those seated here and the presence of the elders of my people. If you're willing to redeem it, redeem. But if you will not redeem, tell me that I may know. For there is no one to redeem but you, and I come after you." "I'm willing to redeem it," he replied. Boaz continued, "When you acquire the property from Naomi and from Ruth the Moabite, you must also acquire the wife of the deceased, so to perpetuate the name of the deceased upon the estate." The Redeemer replied, "Then I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I impair my own estate. You take over my right of redemption, for I am unable to exercise it." Now this was formerly done in Israel. In cases of redemption or exchange, to validate any transaction, one man would take off his sandal and hand it to the other. Such was the practice. He drew off the sandal, and Boaz said to his elders and to the rest of the people, "You are witnesses today that I am acquiring from Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech and all that belonged to Chilon and Machlon. I am also acquiring Ruth the Moabite, the wife of Machlon, as my wife, so as to perpetuate the name of the deceased upon his estate, that the name of the deceased may not disappear among his kinsmen and from the gate of his hometown. You are my witnesses today." All the people in the gate and the elders answered, "We are." "May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your house take Rachel and Leah, both of whom built the house of Israel, prosper in Ephrathah, and perpetuate your name in Bethlehem. And may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, through the offspring whom the Lord will give to you by this young woman." So Boaz married Ruth. She became his wife, and he cohabitated with her. The Lord let her conceive, and she bore a son. And the woman said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not withheld a redeemer from you today. May his name be perpetuated in Israel. He will renew your life and sustain your old age. For he is born of your daughter-in-law, who loves you and is better to you than 7 sons." Naomi took the child and held it to her bosom. She became its foster mother, and the women neighbors gave him a name, saying, "A son is born to Naomi." They named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, father of David. This is a line of Perez. Perez begot Hezron. Hezron begot Ram. Ram begot Aminadab. Aminadab begot Nachshon. Nachshon begot Salmon. Salmon begot Boaz. Boaz begot Obed. Obed begot Jesse. And Jesse begot David.
Turn Adonai, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath, our days a passing shadow. We come and go like grass which in the morning shoots up renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to revert to dust, saying, return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood where we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace. Adonai, you redeem the soul of your servants, and none who trust in you shall be desolate. 576, Psalm 23. Together in the English on page 577 from Psalm 121. I turn my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian. Adonai is your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life. Adonai will guard your going and coming, now and forever. We turn the page. Each person has a name. We each have a name given by God and given by our father and mother. We each have a name given by our stature and smile and given by our attire. We each have a name given by the hills and given by the walls. We each have a name given by the stars and given by our friends. We each have a name given by our sins and given by our yearnings. We each have a name given by our enemies and given by love. We each have a name given by celebrations and given by our work. We each have a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. We each have a name given by the sea, given by our death.
I offer a few brief words for Yizkor in memory of and in honor of the life and legacy of Rabbi Aaron Pankin. He was the rabbi who led the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in all 4 campuses, Los Angeles, Cincinnati, New York, and Jerusalem. He was a marvelous, marvelous combination of humor and wit, humanity, and scholarship. In honor of his legacy, one of our colleagues published the 65 Talmudic texts that we are all expected to know, that we are expected to know as rabbis and cantors, people who teach Torah, who are living Torah. So these words are in honor of him. Part of the Torah that we try to learn is the Torah of the Jewish people. The great leader of youth and Aliyah, named Avram Infeld, teaches as his primary Torah that in the book of Ruth, when she declares in her conversion that she's Jewish, she says, "Your people shall be my people, and only then your God shall be my God." He says, peoplehood uber alles, peoplehood first, loyalty. You are part of a people, and nobody, once you're part of the people, is going to ask you, well, did you pray the Ve'ahavta today? Some may want you to put on tefillin in Jerusalem, but that's a whole other thing. But if we are all one people, we have to be open to each other's stories. And there's a whole world of stories of the Jewish people that most of us who come from Eastern European backgrounds or German backgrounds simply do not know. So just a few days ago, there was the death of one of the shining lights of Jewish history. His name was Howard Morley Sacker. And he'd written most of his history about Eastern Europe and America. And somebody told him, hey, what about the Sephardim? And his last great work is about the Sephardic heritage. I got to meet him in the days when for Yom HaShoah, we would not just have testimonies of survivors, but we would bring in scholars. And he told the story not only of the Sephardim in general, but the story of King Michael of Bulgaria, who just like in Denmark, saved Jews. Not one Jew of Bulgaria was taken to a death camp because Michael of Bulgaria, the king, said no, he stood in the way. It's a story that should be known by everyone, but isn't because it's Sephardi and not Fiddler on the Roof. I thank this incredible historian, Howard Morley Sacker, for his sharing of his legacy. And we have to keep that alive by reading his books, The Course of Modern Jewish History, his books on America, his books on the Sephardim. He tells our story. The second death that happened just recently is a little closer to me. The death of my professor of Aramaic, Isaac Yerushalmi, which got a lot less press in the Jewish world than the death of Aaron Pankin. But Isaac Yerushalmi was born in Turkey, and he knew 8 languages fluently. And he had the sorry task of teaching people who have barely gotten through Kita Aleph in Jerusalem the language of Aramaic, not just how to read Talmud, not just how to say the Kaddish, but what it meant, why the words work the way it does. And he did so with infinite kindness for my illiteracy. I don't know if you had him as well, but you did, right? To learn from Yerushalmi was to see a living Torah, was to see somebody who came from a world so different from mine. And he was not a rabbi, he was a chacham. A chacham is the title in the Sephardi world for the learned person who leads a congregation. He was a chacham of the Sephardi congregation in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he gave the world not only his scholarship and his humor, but his child, Hannah, who is an incredible rabbi in her own right, and his son-in-law, Cy Stanway as well. And he stood for all the people who are voiceless in the Sephardi world that we don't hear about. And that leads me to the third person I'd like to have you think about today. And I'll repeat the names, because you'd have something to walk away with from any drosh. Just this past year in November, Henry Mordeau died. Most of Pittsburgh knows Henry Mordeau as the president of Shadyside Hospital, which he fulfilled with great honor and success, stepping aside when the merger took place with the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center. What most people don't know is that he was pure Sephardi. 500 years an unbroken line from Spain to Salonika. And that line is now broken. He has marvelous girls. They are a little less affiliated with the Jewish community. No criticism of them. They grew up in our culture in America. And his story is one of endurance. His story is his parents in Salonika, that incredible cradle of Jewish civilization that was destroyed by the Nazis, how his parents at the end were taken to Auschwitz and survived and came to America, and how Henry himself clawed his way through community college and college to become a hospital administrator known nationally. People would say to him, Henry Mordeau, what kind of Jewish name is that? I'll tell you what kind of Jewish name it was. He lived in Fox Chapel. And when he was invited to join the Fox Chapel Country Club, he went to dinner. When he went to dinner, they said, what church do you go to? And he named this synagogue. And there was no invitation for the Fox Chapel Country Club or any other social event in Fox Chapel. None. He was a proud Sephardi Jew from Spain and Salonika. And if you do not know about Salonika, please read about it. When people talk about the Golden Age in Spain, or they talk about Vilna, or they talk about the great academies of Germany or America, Salonika gets lost. So I offer my Yizkor talk in honor of the teachers that I knew in various points of contact. Howard Morley Sacker, who I heard once in person, Isaac Yerushalmi, who molded my rabbinic character, Henry Mordeau, who taught me by the Torah of his life. Every one of you here has somebody who taught you the Torah of her or his life. Every one of you here is here because of that Torah, the Torah of mothers and fathers and uncles and aunts and grandparents and siblings and, God forbid, yes, children who have died. May their Torah live in you, even as the Torah of my teachers lives in me. May you never be afraid to share the Torah of the one you love, whose Yizkor light burns inside of you, with your children, with your friends, so that their voices will not merely be carried on the wind, but make their way to the heart of someone you love. Amen. We pause now in our prayer book. There is the prayer for your own private Yizkor, for your memorial of the names of those who were so dear to you. This is on page 580. Please feel free to insert the names of those in English or in Hebrew who were dear to you, and then I will read aloud the Yizkor prayer for the martyrs of our people. At the bottom of 580, Yizkor Elohim nishmot kol acheinu ve'achotenu b'nei Yisrael, שמסרו את נפשותיהם על קידוש השם, על מנת תהיינה נפשותיהם צרורות בצור החיים, ותהי מנוחתם כבוד, סוב השמחות את פניך, נעימות ממינך, נצח, amen. We read together in English at the bottom of the page. May God remember forever our brothers and sisters in the house of Israel who gave their lives. turn to 582, excuse me. And then I'll ask you, at 583 we'll read responsively and then look back at 582. Read responsively, in the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the opening of buds and rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. As you are able, please rise for the chanting of El Malei Rachamim, God full of compassion. Compassionate God on high, to our loved ones who have entered eternity, grant clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever enfold them in the embrace of your wings. Secure their souls in eternity. Adonai, they are yours. They will rest in peace as together we say.
Amen.
Please turn back in your book to page 514 for the prayers to return the Torah to the ark, starting with Yehalelu at the top of the page.
יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו. הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם פרק לעמו. תהילה לכל חסידיו. For a good heritage have I given you, do not forsake it.
remain standing as we continue with our concluding prayers, starting with Elena on 586.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל העולם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוצא הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אין מפלגנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו. וידעת היום, והשבות אל לבבה, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים עמל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינו. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Before our Kaddish, I'd like to just make a brief announcement or two. We want to welcome those who are visiting from other places, from Melbourne, Australia, and from Naharia. Beth, thank you so much for participating in the reading of Sefer Ruth, and we look forward to being with you after our service. We'll be serving a dairy lunch in honor of Shavuot and our holiday in the Falk Auditorium behind us after our final song. Things like this do not simply happen on their own. After 8 years of really working together as partners in faith and in love and in friendship, Rhoda Shalom and Temple Sinai have created something that is more than we could ever do on our own. You can see that in evidence by our choir. So I want to thank Molly and Laura. I also want to thank Ellen so much. Thank you very, very much. And thank you. Will you please say Yesher Koch to the choir? 1, 2, 3.
Yasher Koch.
Like you mean it. Come on. 1, 2, 3.
Yasher Koch.
That was so much better. Thank you very much. Your mass voices are wonderful. It's terrific. And I hope that although this is just the second time, the third time will not be long in coming. Next year.
We have a Sunday again.
We have another Sunday again for Shavuot, so we'll be doing this again. I want to thank Susan and Beth and Sarah and Sion, our Ruth readers, and all those who came up, who were confirmed. Mazel Tov, I hope you, from your confirmation, no matter how long it was ago, I hope that your thank you notes are written. That's all I care about. Anyway, so we move to Kaddish. We move to the memory of those who live on through us, that we feel in the fiber of our being. Our thoughts turn to those who departed this earth, our loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We're going to combine two customs. Our custom at Temple Sinai is for those either observing Yartzeit or still in the 30-day period called Shloshim, to rise in place and share the name of the person for whom they're saying Kaddish so we can recognize you as mourners. Will you please rise and share the name? Will you please rise for your dad? Please. Herb, please come.
Linda Gersdorf. Clara Vizitcher.
Shauna King.
We remember also those taken from our midst, but not our hearts in these most recent days. Ellen Amschel, Herbert Labby, Margaret Levine, Jack Malkin, Malvina Malka Markovic, David Allen Marlin, Irene Nelkin, Anita Newell, Rabbi Aaron Penkin, Barbara Richmond, Harvey Rosenthal. Beatrice Bibby Schlesinger, Patricia Patsy Singer Talata, Barbara Rosenblum Tracy.
We also have a custom in Temple Sinai that we want to recognize our mourners as those who actually say Kaddish, but we never want them to stand alone and feel unaccompanied. So we rise with them so that the mourners can say their Kaddish. The Kaddish is on 598. Yid Gadal, Yid Kadash, Shmei Rabbah, V'yomad, Yivarach, Yeruteh, V'yamlich Malchuteh, V'chayachon, V'yomechon, V'chayeh, V'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalah, V'zman Kariv, V'yimru Amen, Yehei Shmei Rabbah, V'rach, Le'olam, Le'amei Amayah, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yipa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Kudishah, V'riku, Le'ela, Min Kol Birchata, V'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechemata, Damiram b'yomam v'yimru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, V'ya'aseh Shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. May the source of peace in the high heavens cause peace to descend on all of us, all Israel, upon a shattered world desperately needing hope and healing, upon all of us here who mourn our beloved dead. As together we say, Amen. Our final song, I'm told, Oseh Shalom. My bad. Oseh Shalom b'romav, Uyaseh Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. And just before our final song, I will ask you to do a toiva. A toiva is a good deed. A toiva is taking the weekday and festival prayer book away from this room and putting it on the rack out there. Right after our final song and a final benediction, which will be given by Rabbi Gorban, we'll be proceeding right to the table where we have food, where we'll do a brief kiddush, and mostly so we might enjoy our festival meal together. Please make sure it says Weekday Festival and take it with you. What is our final song? It is a Tree of Life?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's you.
Oh. This is in honor of all the kids I've taught for 30 years who have sung this song. And by the way, there's a clap. So just, Rabbi Gorban, if you could help. So here. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, 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 shalom. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life to them that hold fast to it, and all its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, 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 shalom. Real soft is a tree of life for them, hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. It is a tree of life for them, hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Now everything. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, shalom.
I really can't deal with the with ending it on the dominant. Okay. Anyway, that's because Torah is never finished. Great. Bruchim atem b'voachem u'bruchim atem b'tzeitchem me'ata v'ad olam. Blessed are you as you come into sacred space, and blessed are you as you go out into sacred space. And as you go out, I hope you take the teachings and Torah of those you love with you and share them with the world, as together we say, Amen. And we don't have the challah in here. We'll join you for Kiddush and Motzi in the auditorium.